Welcome to Spiritual Rebirth Tarot. I'm Madelyn, and today, November 3rd, is the election day or the voting day in the United States for the new president. And tensions have been high. Of course, it's not easy that we were in, they were just going out of Mercury retrograde, and so it makes all the communications a little bit more wonky. And we have all these other energies and elements. Oh yes, with Mars in retrograde, everybody tends to fight more. So there's certainly a lot of potential for some crazy things going on in the next few days. So some of the astrologers are saying that we won't actually know who the president is right away, and that there'll be some follow-up, may even go to the Supreme Court. There's so many different scenarios that could happen in this time. So I apologize for starting. I'm looking at myself in the mirror. I'm like, I see. Anyway, whatever. Hi. So the energies I would like to call in guidance and energies of comfort, because no matter who wins, somebody won't be comfortable. And no matter who loses, or if no one wins, everyone will be a little uncomfortable. And that's the tarot reading that I had gotten a few weeks ago, was that no one will be happy. So we'll see what happens. And then also, I think that one of the good ways, if you're really anxious, is don't watch the TV all day trying to see who's going to win. Just watch it late enough at night that they already know the answer. Or, don't put yourself through any kind of grief, because it's not worth it to affect your mental health for anything else that's going on in the world. So what I wanted to start with is asking for guidance, directions, comfort, and protection around us. And I would like to start with my Angels and Ancestors deck. And this is a great tarot deck that kind of points to energies that could come in. So who is going to come to us at this time and give us that comfort that we're going to need? So no matter what happens, someone will need to be comforted, but also just having gone through the stress and strain of the experience, the heightened energies of the election, having this sense of comfort will be really important. So who is coming to us in this, as one of our angels or ancestors? So this deck, all the decks are, I'm going to just put this video on, so it may not have all the stuff. So if it doesn't have all the stuff in the description, just go to one of the other videos and it has everything in the description you might possibly want, links to decks and things like that. So let us ask for guidance here. Who is going to be our comforter? So I like to put Reiki energy into the deck. I knew it was going to be this card. The Holy Spirit is the comforter. And this one looks like Jesus, the great teacher. So Jesus bringing the Holy Spirit to us. The Holy Spirit is the comforter. It's so interesting how different religions have really warped the beliefs and the concepts that we look at with, who the Holy Spirit is, who Jesus is. And different people are going to have different ways of looking at things. But the more I understand the Reiki and the Reiki attunement, it's the gift of the Holy Spirit that we have to help us heal. So the Holy Spirit is going to be our comforter. Learn from spiritual experiences. So during this day, as you're struggling with things and things are difficult for you, don't forget your spiritual walk and the happiness that is being offered to you. So let's look up great teacher. Okay, know that what is happening around you is divinely inspired. Learn from your current experiences, then share them with others. So when it comes to the election, no matter who wins and who we think should have won, and how things go for the next 4 years, it is part of the divine plan. And that's what we can, so we push and we struggle, and we aren't going to not vote. We're going to get out there and vote. We're going to be a part of the voice, and we're going to have our opinion. And then at the end of the day, however the outcome, it's the divine directive at this time. It is the inspired divine path that the world is to take and the United States is to take. This card was inspired by Jesus, who is one of the most widely acknowledged and loved spiritual teachers of all time. But there is a great teacher in every tradition, and this card represents the one to whom you feel the closest, as well as the great teacher within. The teacher wears simple clothes here to demonstrate that even if you live a simple life, it can be an incredibly spiritual one. He is surrounded by his sense of serenity and harmony because he has absolute trust in the higher power that moves through him. And the dove on the card represents receiving answers to prayers through signs and experiences, peace through joy. So experiencing peace, experiencing comfort is really what we're asking for and hoping for at this time. So learn from our past spiritual experiences that no matter what happens, this is part of the divine timing, this is part of the divine outcome, and that there is a reason for whatever ends up being. This card was inspired by Jesus, who was one of the most widely acknowledged and loved spiritual teachers. Okay, so it was that was really cool because I was thinking I'm going to get this card and it's going to be that the Holy Spirit is the comforter, because that's what I always learned as a child. So let's take a look at the tarot. What are the messages for the election day? Queen of Swords, the Magician, Page of Wands, the Empress, the Sun, and the Hanged Man. So it's almost all major arcana cards, which means it's a very important day that we are kind of already knew. Underneath of the deck, the Ten of Pentacles. Oh, Sun. This beautiful bees hard at work, creating the abundance and the wonder of the honey that is there for us. So the Queen of Swords comes to us with clarity and truth, even in dark times when we're not sure what's going to happen. The Queen comes flying in and gives us a message. And in this, I'm thinking of that dove, you know, kind of that white, you know, this white flying bird, you know, and the energies of the flight, the air, the movement of the air, the strength of the air, this flowing, the flow, and to know that no matter what happens, you know, this flow is a part of existence and part of the divine plan. The Magician, I think it's fascinating that this MJ Cullinane, she picked this beautiful creature, the raccoon, for the Magician. The Magician is a solitary creature, and raccoons aren't. They usually go around in groups and families. So in this case, he is. The Magician always has what he needs to take the energies and create reality. And so as this day comes, know that the energies of the world are being brought together, and that creation is being formed. And the Page of Wands. So something is hidden, something is unsure, and the Empress. We have the Emperor. We have, so the Empress comes to us, and she really wants us to pay attention to the earth and grounding, the abundance of nature, and all those things around us. The Sun, you know, the happiness peeking through, no matter what happens, that happiness and this waiting that's going to occur, this Hangman, and the waiting. Yeah, with the Hangman at the end, there's a good chance we won't know who the president is. And with the happiness card there, I think it's because, you know, having that true joy and happiness in our hearts is what really brings on the manifestation that is needed. And you know, as we feel that joy and happiness, the manifestation comes into the world. You know, and whenever it comes to politics and those kind of things, people get really up in arms, and they all have different ideas. You know, what's right, what's wrong, you know, who's the best, you know, those kind of things. But in the end, you know, finding our own true happiness inside is more important than you know, trying to be right, or to choose the right, or to follow the right path no matter what. And very prolific, intelligent, and a driven creature who's coming to us and saying, well, you're probably going to have to wait a little while before you find out what happens. So, what are some of the blocks to you feeling happy on this day, the election day? Yeah, there you go. Watching the TV too much to see what's going to come out of it. You know, feeling like you're going to be trapped if the wrong person wins. You know, just not accepting the journey and where things go. And maybe some separation of families if you're not careful, you know, with politics. So some of the blocks would be about, you know, affecting our families and friends, our connections, and all of those kind of things. So let's look at our hopes and fears. Justice, Devil, Tower, three major arcana. So we want justice, whatever that is, or our fear could be that it's going to go to the justices and that the election won't be settled on the same day. You know, fear that things, you know, will, the black and the white, the right and the wrong, you know, those kind of energies. Hoping that they can be balanced and brought together, and that we will be given the abundance that we need and not be tied and broken. And afraid that some catastrophe is going to happen, you know, as a result of the decisions that are made. That either the person that we like doesn't win or the person that we don't like. It's a victory card. Yeah, we're afraid that who the victor might be. And everyone has that fear, all sides. Fear that we won't have a victory. You know, fear that the victory is kind of tied. It's not becoming clear to everyone, the devil energy. Okay, and let's take a look at advice from our higher self at this time. I don't know if I've ever seen that one. The Ace of Wands. New beginnings, new directions. New beginnings, new directions. Giving and taking in unity. You know, coming to the end of a cycle. King of Pentacles. You know, sitting in your wealth, prosperity. I always think of women's rights with this one. So maybe for some people, it's a death card again. Well, for the first time actually. The death card is symbolizing that some things have to be moved out of the way so that other things come in. And that certainly happens in an election. Some people get voted in. Excuse me. Some get voted in, some get voted out, right? And so the room has to be made for the new. And for you, your advice is that new directions are in play that has to do with a kind of an overall a benefit to a balancing of giving and taking in your life, and you'll move into prosperity with things like women's rights and other types of things that you really care about. And so at the same time, things will have to leave your life in order for other things to come in. And I know that is something that's really hard to accept. Like for me, I have a doctorate and a master's, with dentistry, and so everyone assumes that you just have to be a dentist in order to succeed, make money, and because you went to all that schooling, that's what you have to do. But you begin to realize that, you might be on another path or another journey, and in the process of that, it doesn't mean that you won't have a lot of wealth and abundance in that new world or in that new life, and that some things have to go in order for the things that need to be in your life now will come in. So I think that's the message from your higher self at this time. So if you feel like things go that shouldn't have, or the things go that should have during the election, it doesn't matter as much as this work that you're having going on in your heart, this new beginning and this new direction that's happening for you, and the realization that nothing that you have done to get here is wasted in any way. It's exactly what was supposed to be, and it was done in the way that it should be done, part of divine timing. But in that process of change and growth, in your life, you might be drawn to something new at this point, and that's okay, because each experience that you've had will build and create who you are today, and you're never going to lose who you have been in the process of being who you will be, because we're all just in this moment of time. Okay, well, may you find comfort in this time, and peace and direction.